Words alive, words aloud, spoken alone or in a crowd. Words to learn, words to remember, from January until December. Catch a Snowflake If You Can by Elizabeth Buick. Catch a snowflake if you can. See the patterns as they run. Hold them melting in your hand. Lick your fingers as they numb. Try to find an icicle. Put it in the microwave. Watch it turn into a pool which the buzzer cannot save. Nothing is quite what it seems. Living is for here and now. So defrost your frozen dreams. Do not wait to question how. Hold your hands out to the wind. Let the rain run down your face. Step in every fairy ring. Hide in each enchanted place. Write your words upon the air. See them curve and rhyme and scan. Make new patterns everywhere. Catch a snowflake if you can. The Spare Room by Diana Henry. It was just the spare room, the nobody there room, the spooks in the air room, the unbearable spare room. It wasn't the guest room, the four-post and best room, the designed to impress room, the unusable guest room. It wasn't the main room, the homely and plain room, the flop on the bedroom, Mum and Dad's own room. It wasn't the blue room, the sweet lallaloo room, the creep on your feet room, the baby's asleep room. It wasn't the bright room, the clothes everywhere room, the music all night room, sisters scattered about room. It was just the spare room, the nobody there room, the spooks in the air room, the unbearable spare room. Grasshopper Green is a comical chap. He lives on the best of fare. Bright little trousers, jacket and cap, these are his summer wear. Out in the meadows he loves to go, playing away in the sun. It's hoppity-skippity, high and low, summer's the time for fun. The Sea at Night by Sujata Bhatt. The sea at night, all black, yet distinguishable from the day. All black, close above the sea, a vertical sickle, a flame, yellow waxing moon, and right above the moon, a chrysanthemum yellow star, the evening star. All in a straight line. So we wondered if this happens every night or once a century. We wondered while the sea swayed, the sky shifted, the moon turned, the star slipped, and there was no time for a photograph, no time, so we watched, sleepless through the night, unable to lie still, unable to stop talking. In March, at winter's end, when hungry foxes sleep a few uneasy hours in earthy dens, and shivering hares squat in their forms, and sheep at lambing time bed down in farmyard pens, then stiff with cold in secret garden holes thin dormice lie, curled up with drowsy moles. Before the frosty darkness falls outside, there flit on faintly coloured wing a pair of chaffinches, who on the branches hide, for they have found a quiet lodging, where they too can settle down this night and rest, and in the morning start to build their nest. And in the farmhouse now, our yawning cat, after a busy day, begins to tire, and lies there warm and sleek and fat, stretched out beside the blazing kitchen fire. Dreaming and purring, she is well away. It is the ending of a chill March day. So, wild and tame, have skies above their heads, where all the stars of early springtime shine. They go contented to their peaceful beds, and I am full of sleep and go to mine. Rain. I opened my eyes and looked up at the rain, and it dripped in my head and flowed into my brain. So pardon this wild, crazy thing I just said. I am just not the same since there's rain in my head. I step very softly, I walk very slow. I can't do a handstand, or I might overflow. And all I can hear as I lie in my bed is the slishety slosh of the rain in my head. I love to see the fire so red, it turns to toast my slice of bread. I love to go to bed at night and sleep until the morning light. I love the moon that shines on me and stars that twinkle merrily. I love the winter frost and snow. I'm dressed in wool from tip to toe. Don't you love to lie and listen? Listen to the rain, with its little patter-patter and its tiny clatter-clatter and its silvery spatter-spatter on the roof and on the pane? Yes, I love to lie and listen. Listen to the rain. I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what, and why, and when, and how, and where, and who. If your lips would keep from slips, of these 5 things beware. Of whom you speak, to whom you speak, and how, and when, and where. The more we study, the more we know. The more we know, the more we forget. The more we forget, the less we know. The less we know, the less we forget. The less we forget, the more we know. So why study? Some like to drink in a pint pot. Some like to think, some not. Strong Dutch cheese, old Kentucky rye. Some like these, not I. Some like Poe, and others like Scott. The Pets by Robert Farren. Colm had a cat, and a wren, and a fly. The cat was a pet, and the wren, and the fly. And it happened that the wren ate the fly, and it happened that the cat ate the wren. Then the cat died. So St. Colm lacked a cat and a wren and a fly. But St. Colm loved the cat and the wren and the fly. So he prayed to get them back, cat and wren. And he prayed to get them back, wren and fly. And the cat became alive and delivered up the wren, and the wren became alive and delivered up the fly. And they all lived with Colm till the day came to die. First the cat died, then the wren died, then the fly. The Cat by Miroslav Holub, translated by George Steiner. Outside it was night, like a book without letters, and the eternal dark dripped to the stars through the sieve of the city. I said to her, "Do not go. You'll only be trapped and bewitched and will suffer in vain." I said to her, "Do not go. Why want nothing?" But a window was opened, and she went, a black cat, into the black night. She dissolved, a black cat in the black night. She just dissolved. And no one ever saw her again, not even she herself. But you can hear her sometimes, when it's quiet, and there's a northerly wind, and you listen intently to your own self. Three little mice walked into town. Their coats were grey and their eyes were brown. Three little mice went down the street, with woolly slippers upon their feet. Three little mice sat down to dine, on bread and butter and milk and wine. Three little mice ate on and on, till every bit of bread was gone. Three little mice, when the feast was done, went home quickly, one by one. Three little mice went straight to bed and dreamt of milk and butter and bread. The Fly by Walter de la Mare. How large unto the tiny fly must little things appear? A rosebud like a feather bed, its prickle like a spear, a dewdrop like a looking-glass, a hair like golden wire, the smallest grain of mustard seed, as fierce as coals of fire, a loaf of bread, a lofty hill, a wasp, a cruel leopard, and specks of salt as bright to see as lambkins to a shepherd. Seeking by Eleanor Fargen. When little Jane lifts up her head, uncovering her eyes, every other child has fled into the mysteries. The playmates that she knew are gone, and Jane is left alone. Oh, Alice with the starry looks, oh, Anne with gleaming curls, what dusky corners, what dim nooks have hid you, little girls? The house is vast, and Jane is small. And are you here at all? Oh, Richard with the flashing smile, oh, Rob with freckled brow, where are you hiding all this while, you who are here but now? The house lies in a sleep as deep as sleeping beauties sleep. Through all the rooms grown deaf and blind, Jane seeks with throbbing heart the hidden playmates, home to find will make small tremors start. For when she finds them in the game, they may not be the same. The Tiger by William Blake. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? I've Never Seen the Milkman by Charles Causley. I've never seen the milkman, his shiny cap or coat. I've never seen him driving his all-electric float. When he comes by, the morning's as black as printer's ink. I've never heard his footstep, nor a single bottle clink. No matter if it's foggy, or snow is on the ground, or hail, or rain, or half a gale, he always does his round. I wonder if he's thin, or fat, or fair, or dark, or bald, or short, or tall, and most of all, I wonder what he's called. He goes to bed so early that not an owl has stirred, and rises up again before the earliest early bird. God bless the faithful milkman, my hero, and that's flat. Or perhaps he's a milk lady. I never thought of that. The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts, all on a summer's day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole the tarts and took them clean away. The King of Hearts called for the tarts and beat the knave full sore. The Knave of Hearts brought back the tarts and vowed he'd steal no more. My Dog by Norman Silver. My dog's colour is more than chocolate. Her tail busier than a windmill, her tongue sloppier and lickier each time she comes to greet me. My dog, first thing in the morning, is a volcano of yelping joy. When I come too slowly downstairs, I hear her impatient love for me. My dog takes me willingly for a walk. She pulls me on my leash to her favourite of all places, the field of 1,000 smells. My dog is jumpier than a pogo stick. Her leaps vertical in long grass, her eyes smiling as she pops up to see the world on the other side. My dog's heart is ocean wide. She forgives me for my tempers, and herself is never downcast, each day being a brand new day. My dog's sleeping is dreamy. Her eyelids twitch as she roams through her twilight dogland, chasing uncatchable butterflies. My dog knows when she's misbehaved. She slinks tail between legs away from the guilty puddle and cries dry tears in the corner. My dog is a crazy mixed-up dog, more mongrel than a zedonk, but bristling with beauty. Her personality is her pedigree. Taffy was a Welshman. Taffy was a thief. Taffy came to my house and stole a piece of beef. I went to Taffy's house. Taffy wasn't in. I jumped upon his Sunday hat and poked it with a pin. Taffy was a Welshman. Taffy was a sham. Taffy came to my house and stole a leg of lamb. I went to Taffy's house. Taffy was away. I stuffed his socks with sawdust and filled his shoes with clay. Taffy was a Welshman. Taffy was a cheat. Taffy came to my house and stole a piece of meat. I went to Taffy's house. Taffy was not there. I hung his coat and trousers to roast before a fire. There was an old woman, and nothing she had, and so this old woman was said to be mad. She'd nothing to eat, she'd nothing to wear, she'd nothing to lose, she'd nothing to fear, she'd nothing to ask and nothing to give, and when she did die, she'd nothing to leave. There Was an Old Woman by Charles Causley. There was an old woman of Chesterley Street who chased a policeman all over his beat. She shattered his helmet and tattered his clothes and knocked his new spectacles clean off his nose. "I'm afraid," said the judge, "I must make it quite clear. You can't get away with that sort of thing here." "I can and I will," the old woman she said, "and I don't give a fig for your water and bread. I don't give a hoot for your cold prison cell, and your boats and your bars and your handcuffs as well. I've never been one to do just as I'm bid. You can put me in jail for a year." So they did. I Saw Charlie Chaplin by Charles Causley. I saw Charlie Chaplin in 1924 playing golf with a walking cane outside our front door. His bowler was a size too early. His trousers were a size too late. His little moustache said 1 o'clock. His boots said 8:20. He whacked at a potato. It broke in the bouncing air. "Never mind, Charlie," I said to him. "We've got some to spare." I fetched him out a potato. He leaned on his S-shaped cane. "Thanks, kid." He bowed. He shrugged. I never saw him again. My father said Charlie Chaplin wasn't Charlie at all. He said it was someone in our town going to a fancy ball. He said it couldn't be Charlie, that it was Carnival Day, that Charlie never came to our town, and he lived in the USA. Not Charlie Chaplin? You can tell that tale to the cat. I don't care what my father said. I know better than that. For I saw Charlie Chaplin outside our front door playing golf with a walking cane. It was 1924. The Reverie of Poor Susan by William Wordsworth. At the corner of Wood Street, when daylight appears, hangs a thrush that sings loud. It has sung for 3 years. Poor Susan has passed by the spot and has heard in the silence of morning the song of the bird. 'Tis a note of enchantment. What ails her? She sees a mountain ascending, a vision of trees, bright volumes of vapour through Lothbury glide, and a river flows on through the vale of Cheapside. Green pastures she views in the midst of the dale, down which she so often has tripped with her pail, and a single small cottage, a nest like a dove's, the one only dwelling on earth that she loves. She looks, and her heart is in heaven. But they fade, the mist and the river, the hill and the shade. The stream will not flow, and the hill will not rise, and the colours have all passed away from her eyes. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when it nothing shines upon, then you show your little light, twinkle, twinkle, all the night. Then the traveller in the dark thanks you for your tiny spark. How could he see where to go if you did not twinkle so? In the dark blue sky you keep, often through my curtain peep, for you never shut your eye till the sun is in the sky. As your bright and tiny spark lights the traveller in the dark, though I know not what you are, twinkle, twinkle, little star. The Football Ghosts by Gerard Benson. At night, when the stadium is empty, when the grass in the moonlight is silver grey, when the goals look like hungry fishing nets, it is then the old ghosts play. When all the crisp packets and fag ends and all the drink cans have been swept up, and the crowd has left and the gates are locked, they play for the Phantom Cup. Thin clouds drift across the face of the moon. The grass stirs, a creeping whistle sounds, and silent, invisible spectators throng the deserted stands. And 22 ghosts in long-legged shorts dance the ball across the silvered grass. A ball you can almost see, the old game. Run, dribble, and pass. Pale shades and shadows, heroes of bygone days, under the gaze of the moon, sidestep and swerve, and crowds silently cheer as the ball floats goalwards in an unseen curve. If I Had 100 Hats by Amir Gilboa, translated by Shirley Kaufman. If I had 100 hats on my head, 100 hats, 100 hats, 100 hats, 100 colours, 100 colours and shades of colours, a rain of colours. If I had 100 hats on my head, I'd go into the marketplace, clear me a way to the marketplace and toss them in happiness. If I had 100 hats on my head, I'd go into the marketplace and everybody would clear me away and wait for my waving the hats, if I had 100 hats on my head. 100 hats, 100 colours and shades of colours. If I had 100 hats and a high sun going straight to my head, straight to my colours, the crowd ready to shout its cry of praise, its great heart thumping in the square, heart of the crowd waiting for the waving of 100 hats, 100 colours and shades. Wash on Monday, iron on Tuesday, bake on Wednesday, brew on Thursday, churn on Friday, mend on Saturday, go to meeting on Sunday. Monday alone, Tuesday together, Wednesday we walk when it's fair weather, Thursday we kiss, Friday we cry, Saturday's hours seem almost to fly. But of all days in the week we will call Sunday the rest day, the best day of all. I met a little girl who came from another land. I couldn't speak her language, but I took her by the hand. We danced together and had such fun. Dancing is a language you can speak with anyone. Stars. The moon shines bright, the stars give a light, and you may kiss a pretty girl at 10 o'clock at night. Tom of Islington married a wife on Sunday, brought her home on Monday, bought a stick on Tuesday, beat her well on Wednesday, sick she was on Thursday, dead she was on Friday, glad was Tom on Saturday night to bury his wife on Sunday. On Saturday night shall be my care to powder my lock and curl my hair. On Sunday morning my love will come in, then he will marry me with a gold ring. Why? By Charles Causley. Why do you turn your head, Susanna? And why do you swim your eye? It's only the children on Belmont Street calling, "A penny for the guy." Why do you look away, Susanna, as the children wheel him by? It's only a dummy in an old top hat and a fancy jacket and tie. Why do you take my hand, Susanna, as the pointing flames jump high? It's only a bundle of sacking and straw, nobody's going to die. Why is your cheek so pale, Susanna, as the whiz-bangs flash and fly? It's nothing but a rummage of paper and rag, strapped to a stick you spy. Why do you say you hear, Susanna, the sound of a last long sigh? And why do you say it won't leave your head, no matter how hard you try? Best let me take you home, Susanna, best on your bed to lie. It's only a dummy in an old top hat, nobody's going to die. The Milkmaid. Where are you going to, my pretty maid? I'm going a-milking, sir, she said. May I go with you, my pretty maid? You're kindly welcome, sir, she said. Say, will you marry me, my pretty maid? Yes, if you please, kind sir, she said. What is your father, my pretty maid? My father is a farmer, sir, she said. What is your fortune, my pretty maid? My face is my fortune, sir, she said. Then I can't marry you, my pretty maid. Nobody asked you, sir, she said. Godiva by Alfred Lord Tennyson. I waited for the train at Coventry. I hung with grooms and porters on the bridge to watch the three tall spires, and there I shaped the city's ancient legend into this. Not only we, the latest seed of time, new men that in the flying of a wheel cry down the past, not only we that prate of rights and wrongs have loved the people well and loathed to see them overtaxed, but she did more and underwent and overcame. The woman of 1,000 summers back, Godiva, wife to that grim earl who ruled in Coventry. For when he laid a tax upon his town, and all the mothers brought their children clamouring, "If we pay, we starve," she sought her lord and found him, where he strode about the hall among his dogs, alone, his beard a foot before him, and his hair a yard behind. She told him of their tears, and prayed him, "If they pay this tax, they starve." Whereat he stared, replying half amazed, "You would not let your little finger ache for such as these?" "But I would die," said she. He laughed, and swore by Peter and by Paul, then filliped at the diamond in her ear. "Oh, aye, 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 you talk." "Alas," she said, "but prove me what it is I would not do." And from a heart as rough as Esau's hand, he answered, "Ride you naked through the town, and I repeal it." And nodding as in scorn, he parted with great strides among his dogs. So left alone, the passions of her mind, as minds from all the compass shift and blow, made war upon each other for an hour, till pity won. She sent a herald forth, and bade him cry with sound of trumpet all the hard condition, but that she would loose the people. Therefore, as they loved her well, from then till noon no foot should pace the street, no eye look down she passing, but that all should keep within, door shut and window barred. Then fled she to her inmost bower, and there unclasped the wedded eagles of her belt, the grim earl's gift. But ever at a breath she lingered, looking like a summer moon half dipped in cloud. Anon she shook her head, and showered the rippled ringlets to her knee, unclad herself in haste, adown the stair stole on, and like a creeping sunbeam slid from pillar unto pillar until she reached the gateway. There she found her palfrey trapped in purple blazoned with armorial gold. Then she rode forth, clothed on with chastity. The deep air listened round her as she rode, and all the low wind hardly breathed for fear. The little wide-mouthed heads upon the spout had cunning eyes to see. The barking cur made her cheek flame. Her palfrey's footfall shot light horrors through her pulses. The blind walls were full of chinks and holes, and overhead fantastic gables crowding stared. But she, not less through all, bore up till last she saw the white-flowered elder thicket from the field gleam through the Gothic archway in the wall. Then she rode back, clothed on with chastity, and one low churl, compact of thankless earth, the fatal byword of all years to come, boring a little auger hole in fear, peeped, but his eyes, before they had their will, were shrivelled into darkness in his head and dropped before him. So the powers who wait on noble deeds cancelled a sense, misused, and she that knew not passed. And all at once, with 12 great shocks of sound, the shameless noon was clashed and hammered from 100 towers, one after one. But even then she gained her bower, whence reissuing, robed and crowned to meet her lord, she took the tax away and built herself an everlasting name. Showing by Carol Sachyamurty. We brought our mother's photos in and had a show. We propped them in a row along a shelf, scrutinised their conformation. Christine's, who went out to work and voted Labour, a straight-backed Scottish terrier, tough and guarded. Mrs. Ascoli's borzoi profile taught nerves and tragedy, exquisite in pearls and flowered straw, head angled in the subtlest condescension. Mary's, old and sad, a bloodhound, hair in loops. Jane's stocky, cheerful pug dog of a mother, foursquare with a golf club. Only mine was human, a musical box dancer, radiant in 1,000 sequins. They all agreed she was the prettiest. Then I was ashamed I'd brought that one. She and my father at the ladies' night, eyes shining at each other. The one that looked like history. William Shakespeare, from Two Gentlemen of Verona, Act 1, Scene 2. Julia, talking to her maid. Now by my modesty, a goodly broker, dare you presume to harbour wanton lines, to whisper and conspire against my youth? Now trust me, 'tis an office of great worth, and you an officer fit for the place. There, take the paper, see it be returned, or else return no more unto my sight. Will ye be gone? Lucetta goes. And yet I would I had o'erlooked the letter. It were a shame to call her back again and pray her to a fault for which I chid her. What fool is she that knows I am a maid, and would not force the letter to my view, since maids in modesty say no to that which they would have the profferer construe aye. Fie, fie, how wayward is this foolish love, that like a testy babe will scratch the nurse, and presently all humbled kiss the rod. How churlishly I chid Lucetta hence, when willingly I would have had her here. How angrily I taught my brow to frown, when inward joy enforced my heart to smile. My penance is to call Lucetta back, and ask remission for my folly past. What ho, Lucetta! A ballad. Robin Hood rescuing 3 squires. There are 12 months in all the year, as I hear many men say, but the merriest month in all the year is the merry month of May. Now Robin Hood is to Nottingham gone, with a link, a down, and a day, and there he met a silly old woman, was weeping on the way. What news, thou silly old woman? What news hast thou for me? Said she, There's 3 squires in Nottingham town, today is condemned to die. Oh, have they parishes burnt, he said, or have they ministers slain, or have they robbed any virgin, or with other men's wives have lain? They have no parishes burnt, good sir, nor yet have ministers slain, nor have they robbed any virgin, nor with any other men's wives have lain. Oh, what have they done? Said bold Robin Hood. I pray thee tell to me. It's for slaying of the king's fallow deer, bearing their long bows with thee. Dost thou not mind, old woman, he said, since thou made me sup and dine? By the truth of my body, quoth bold Robin Hood, you could not tell it in better time. Now Robin Hood is to Nottingham gone, with a link, a down, and a day, and he met a silly old palmer was walking along the highway. What news, thou silly old man, what news do thee pray? Said he, 3 squires in Nottingham town are condemned to die this day. Come change thy apparel with me, old man, come change thy apparel for mine. Here is 40 shillings in good silver, go drink it in beer or wine. Oh, thine apparel is good, he said, and mine is ragged and torn. Wherever ye go, wherever ye ride, laugh near an old man to scorn. Come change thy apparel with me, old churl, come change thy apparel with mine. Here are 20 pieces of good broad gold, go feast thy brethren with wine. Then he put on the old man's hat, it stood full high in the crown. The first bold bargain that I came at, it shall mak thee come down. Then he put on the old man's cloak, was patched black, blue, and red. He thought no shame all the day long to wear the bags of bread. Then he put on the old man's breeks, was patched from ballop to side. By the truth of my body, bold Robin can say, this man loved little pride. Then he put on the old man's hose, were patched from knee to wrist. By the truth of my body, said bold Robin Hood, I'd laugh if I had any list. Then he put on the old man's shoes, were patched both beneath and aboon. Then Robin Hood swore a solemn oath, 'tis a good habit that makes a man. Now Robin Hood is to Nottingham gone, with a link, a down, and a down, and there he met with the proud sheriff, was walking along the town. Oh save, oh sheriff, he said, oh save, and you may see. And what will ye give to a silly old man? Today will your hangman be? Some suits, the sheriff he said, some suits I'll give to ye. Some suits, and pence 13, today a hangman's fee. Then Robin he turns him round about, and jumps from stock to stone. By the truth of my body, the sheriff he said, that's well jumped, thou nimble old man. I was ne'er a hangman in all my life, nor yet intends to trade, but cursed be he, said bold Robin, that first a hangman was made. I've a bag for meal, and a bag for malt, and a bag for barley and corn, a bag for bread, and a bag for beef, and a bag for my little small horn. I have a horn in my pocket, I got it from Robin Hood, and still when I set it to my mouth, for thee it blows little good. "Oh, wind thy horn, thou proud fellow, of thee I have no doubt. I wish that thou give such a blast till both thy eyes fall out." The first loud blast that he did blow, he blew both loud and shrill. 150 of Robin Hood's men came riding over the hill. The next loud blast that he did give, he blew both loud and amain, and quickly 60 of Robin Hood's men came shining over the plain. "Oh, who are yon?" the sheriff he said, "come tripping over the lea?" "They're my attendants," brave Robin did say, "they'll pay a visit to thee." They took the gallows from the slack, they set it in the glen, they hanged the proud sheriff on that, released their own 3 men. Celebration Song by James Berry. Mary, speaking to her son Jesus on his first birthday. Your born day is a happening day, and 1 year old today, all day I feel a celebration. Everywhere is alive in jubilation. All say welcome. You tried to open my eyes yesterday when I dozed, not liking them closed. Busy little hands, troublesome. They try to grasp my mouth, my nose, my eyes. I mock shout. Out of bed with me today. Happiness. All day music is all of sky my head. Animals, people, trees all say, "First child, we want you for God's own child." In the sea the fishes all dance. Big fish, small fish, striped fish, plain fish. In a leaping out and in dance, in a leaping out and in dance, in one all day together wish. All birds fill the sky, singing, flying in display, crisscrossed, this way and that way. Your born day is a happening day, a caller with good news, a day of celebration, a day of jubilation. Your born day makes bells ring, makes children and choirs sing, brings strangers from near and far, makes me feel afraid, yet feel a joy without dread. When you grow up and a man, what will happen then? What will happen, Jesus? What will happen to you, me, us? Yet also I ask this, when your childhood has gone, my mothering long done, will your days still be one long, long celebration day? My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands, a-chasing the deer, a-chasing the wild deer and following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go. In London Town by Mary Coleridge. It was a bird of paradise. Over the roofs he flew. All the children in a trice clapped their hands and cried, "How nice! Look, his wings are blue." His body was of ruby red. His eyes were burning gold. All the grown-up people said, "What a pity the creature is not dead, for then it could be sold." One was braver than the rest. He took a loaded gun. Aiming at the emerald crest, he shot the creature through the breast. Down it fell in the sun. It was not heavy, it was not fat, and folk began to stare. "We cannot eat it, that is flat, and such outlandish feathers as that, why, who could ever wear?" They flung it into the river brown. A pity the creature died. With a smile and with a frown, thus they did in London town. but all the children cried. To a mouse, on turning her up in her nest with a plough, November 1785. This poem is in Ayrshire dialect. Wee sleekit cowrin timorous beastie, oh, what a panic's in thy breastie. Thou needna start a wassy hasty wi' bicker and prattle. I would be laith to rin and chase thee wi' murder and pattle. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union, and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at me, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. I doot no whiles but thou min thieve. What then, poor beastie, thou mun live. A dame and icker and a thrave's a small request. I'll get a blessing with a lave and never missed. Thy wee bit housie too in ruin, its silly was the winds are strewin', and naething new to big and new in a foggage green. And bleak December's winds ensuing baith snell and keen. Thou saw the winds laid bare and waste, and weary winter coming fast, and cosy here beneath the blast thou thought to dwell, till crash, the cruel coulter passed out through thy cell. That wee bit heap o' leaves and stibble has cost thee money a weary nibble. Now thou's turned out for all thy trouble, but hooser halt, to thole the winter's sleety dribble, and Cranrich called. But mousie, thou art no thy lane, in proving foresight may be vain. The best laid schemes o' mice and men gang after glory, and leaves nought but grief and pain for promised joy. Still thou art blessed compared wi' me. The present only toucheth thee, but och, I backward cast my ee on prospects drear, and forward, though I canna see, I guess and fear. From St. Francis by Brian Wildsmith. I was born, thank you, God, over 800 years ago, and I still live in people's hearts. I loved my name, Francis. I loved my city, Assisi, and I loved my life. My delight was to sing and play the lute, to wear fine clothes, to joke with my friends, and to dance with them all through the countryside. One day, the bells of Assisi pealed out in anger. The city of Perugia is about to attack. Take up arms and fight. I longed for fame and glory. I put on my shining armour and rode into battle. We were defeated, and I was captured. Laden down with chains, I was dragged to Perugia. The prison was cold and damp. My fellow prisoners were sad. They never laughed. They never sang. And so I sang to them. I joked with them and made them laugh. But I became ill, and I too became sad. My father paid a ransom for me, and I went home to Assisi. My mother nursed me back to health, but I was still sad. Spring arrived, and I went out walking. The sun shone, but I did not see it. The birds sang, but I did not hear. flowers filled the air with scent, but I was unaware. I came to the ruined church of San Damiano and knelt to pray. I heard a voice. Francis, my church is falling into ruin. Go and repair it for me. I saw the sun, I heard the birds, I smelt the flowers, I danced. God had spoken to me. Robert Burns. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. My love is like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair thou art, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee weel, my only love, and fare thee weel a while, and I will come again, my love, though 'twere 10,000 mile. She Walks in Beauty by George Gordon Byron. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven tress, or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear their dwelling place. And on that cheek and o'er that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. William Shakespeare, from Henry V, the prologue. The chorus. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden the very casques that did affright the air at Agincourt? O pardon, since a crooked figure may attest in little place 1,000,000, and let us, ciphers to this great accompt, on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined 2 mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts, into 1,000 parts divide one man, and make imaginary puissance. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them, printing their proud hooves i' the receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass, for the which supply. Admit me chorus to this history, who prologue-like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play. William Shakespeare, Hamlet. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more. And by sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would these fardels bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have, than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action. William Shakespeare, Sonnet 66. Tired with all these, for restful death I cry, as to behold desert a beggar born, and needy nothing trimmed in jollity, and purest faith unhappily forsworn, and gilded honour shamefully misplaced, and maiden virtue rudely strumpeted, and right perfection wrongfully disgraced, and strength by limping sway disabled, and art made tongue-tied by authority, and folly, doctor-like, controlling skill, and simple truth miscalled simplicity, and captive good attending captain ill. Tired with all these, from these would I be gone, save that to die I leave my love alone. William Shakespeare, from A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 2, Scene 1. Over hill, over dale, thorough bush, thorough briar, over park, over pale, thorough flood, thorough fire, I do wander everywhere, swifter than the moon's sphere, and I serve the fairy queen, and dew her orbs upon the green. The cowslips tall her pensioners be, in their gold coats spots you see, those be rubies, fairy favours, in those freckles live their savours. I must go seek some dewdrops here, and hang a pearl in every cowslip's ear. Farewell, thou love of spirits, I'll be gone. Our queen and all her elves come here anon. Museums by Barry Wade. I've watched my father set like ancient stone. Since the time his factory closed 2 years ago, his eyes have fixed behind their bone like marble carved by Michelangelo. Writing off for jobs, he'd spend an age staring ahead. He tenses as he writes, displays against the neat, half-written page those redundant fingers stiff as ammonites. It's then our house goes quiet as the places where he used to take me on wet Saturdays, and we sit separate as showcases kept locked in high and endless galleries. I remember how blind statues stand, like hope run cold against a dark tomorrow. It's then I long to hold him by the hand as he held mine what seems an age ago. Auld Lang Syne. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days a lang syne? We twa hae run about the braes and pooed the gowns fine, but we've wandered mony a weary foot sin' Auld Lang Syne. We twa hae peddled in the burn frae morning sun till dine, but seas atween us braid her road sin' Auld Lang Syne. And he's a hon my trusty fear, and gie's a hon o' thine, and we'll tak a right good willie wacht for Auld Lang Syne. And surely ye'll be your pint stoop, and surely I'll be mine, and we'll tak a cup o' kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. Tea Party by Russell Hoban. The teapot's full, the cups are clean, the cloth is white, the grass is green, the jam is sweet, the cakes are good. The sunlight smiles as sunlight should, but only crickets sing with me, and only shadows drink my tea. I know a word that no one knows, I know a place where no one goes. If sometime in the smiling sun, when all the cricket songs are done, and shadows all have drunk their tea, a friend should come to visit me, I'll show the place where darkness bites, and speak the word the silence writes. The Smile by John Mull. It began with a whisper, but grew and grew until I felt certain the source must be you. Why did you smile while I listened and then turn away as their faces fell silent again? What had you told them that slammed shut their looks like the end of a lesson with unpopular books? What was the writing which I couldn't see as it hid behind covers and pointed at me? Nothing much could have happened, for by the next day we were laughing, talking, and managed to stay, well, after a fashion, good friends for a while, but with always between us the ghost of that smile. Happiness lies in ourselves, after all they say, and be sure the happy heart makes the happy day.